So maybe we will move to the next topic in OBGYN. May I introduce Dr. Tá Sơn from Vinmec, Time City, Hanoi, Vietnam. He will talk about the basic plans in OBGYN scan, how to optimize the information from the fetal brain ultrasound.
Thank you, Chairman, for kind introduction. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to be here today to share with you a simple but interesting topic about the obstetrical ultrasound. Exoplanes in fetal brain ultrasound, how to optimize, how to maximum the information. This is outline of my talk. We have two parts. The first part is screening ultrasound, and the second part is additional assessment. We all know the fetal brain malformation is one of the most fetal abnormalities. So it's important to detect it prenatally. This is a very new guideline from the ISWOC, International Society of Ultrasound in Obstetrics and Gynecology. And I think all you all know how to scan, how to do a screening scan for the fetal brain with 3 exoplanes, a transventricular plane, transthalamic plane, and transcerebral plane. With 3 basic exoplanes, we can see most of important structures of the fetal brain that include, we know the head shape, we access the lateral ventricles, we see the cavum septi pellucidi, CSP, we access the thalami, cerebellum, cisterna magna, and spine. The first thing I would like to share with you is the cavum septi pellucidi. We have to know the definition of the CSP. CSP is a structure, is a box. As we see here, CSP is a box, and we have to differentiate with septum pellucidum. Is a leaflet, like the equal here. So in this image, 2 parallel structures here, we name it septum pellucidum, and a box, a cavity between this, we name it cavum septi pellucidi. It is very important to for you to read the article, because in the past we have a lot of controversy about these synonyms. CSP is a space between 2 leaflets, 2 membranes, and a term or afterbirth it disappears because it's fusion of 2 leaflets. It creates septum pellucidum. In normal fetus, CSP can be seen from 17 to 37 weeks of gestation, and it disappears afterwards. Non-visualized of CSP before 16 weeks or after 37 weeks is normal. So when you cannot see the CSP at the term, don't worry about it because it's normal. In case you cannot see the fluids in the CSP, non-visualization of fluid in the CSP is also can be observed in the normal fetus. In abnormal case, the first is absent cavum septi pellucidi. It means there's no box. When we don't see the box, it is we only see it in case of complete agenesis of corpus callosum. The second condition is the second term is the absent septum pellucidum. It means no lepless. We can see it in holoprosencephaly, the lobar type. We can see it in severe hydrocephalus, and we can see it in septo-optic dysplasia. The last one of abnormal CSP, abnormal shape of CSP, in case of partial agenesis of the corpus callosum, we don't see the normal box like this. We will see the square shape. I will mention it in the next slide. About the CSP, we have to know the CSP variant. In this, the first one here, this is the cavum septi pellucidi or CSP. CSP in normal case is we notice is below the CC corpus callosum here, and here is the CSP. And next, when we see the cavity behind the CSP, like this, is the cavum vergae. And the last one, CVI, cavum belli interpositi, is below the posterior part of corpus callosum and is upper than the internal vein here. When we cannot see the fluid in the CSP, in case like this, here is the image of normal case. Here is, we don't see the fluid cavity inside the box. We name it obliterated CSP, no fluid in the CSP, and we check the corpus callosum. If corpus callosum is normal, the outcome can be good, and we consider it a variation of normal development. Don't worry about it. The next one, we have to see on the axial plane. We have to access the lateral ventricle. We measure the width of posterior horn of lateral ventricle, and how to where we put the caliper. We put it inner at level of parietal occipital sulcus. And in case in early stage we do not see the POS, we can measure it at level of choroid plexus. And it's easy to access the distal lateral ventricle, but we have two sides. The proximal is very hard because the shadowing of the bone, and we can tilt the probe cranial to caudal to get a picture like this. In this case, the measurement of the lateral ventricle is a little bit wider than the normal way we measure. But it's not important. We can access the lateral wall. We can access the corpus choroid plexus, and we access the Sian fissure here. It's very important. It will include in the guideline of the Israel group about the fetal neurosonography. And this is a case to show how important to see the whole of the brain. In the first picture, it seems to be normal. We see the normal CSP, we see the normal lateral ventricle. But when we move down a little bit, we can see something abnormal here. And this is a case of subependymal heterotopia. And here is the swab. So it is very important to scan careful and swab it better than a single plane. Very important. This is the way how to access the proximal lateral ventricle. Here is the CMV infection cases with the occipital cyst of the. This is the way we put the probe. We move down the probe here and angulate it to cranially. We can access the proximal lateral ventricle. We access the lateral ventricle wall here. We can access the ventricles, and we access something abnormal here in occipital horn. A little bit about the anterior horn. We have the structure of anterior horn. We name it the anterior complex. It includes the two anterior horn of lateral ventricle. Is the CSP in the middle. The comma shape of the anterior horn of lateral ventricle, and separated it by CSP. It is very important marker for the normal brain development. And let's move, see a little bit, very common lesion, complete agenesis of the corpus callosum. Here is normal K, and here is normal K. It is easy to see the teardrop shape of lateral ventricle with my ventriculomegaly and the hypoplasia of anterior horn, and two anterior horn is widely separated than the normal, and we cannot see the normal structure of CSP. Is it CSP? No. Is the third ventricle is elevated. And this is the case of partial agenesis of the corpus callosum. Is there any different? We also have teardrop shape of lateral ventricle, but we still see the CSP with abnormal shape. Here is a sagittal view. We can see the CSP here is small and thin. Let's make a comparison between CSP, between the ACC, partial ACC, and the normal here. Both ACC and partial ACC have the teardrop shape of lateral ventricle, but in the PICC, we still see in the CSP with abnormal shape. Here is the normal shape. This is the normal K. Here's sagittal view to confirm the diagnosis. We don't see the corpus callosum here, short corpus callosum, and normal corpus callosum here. How about the genthalamic plane have any role in prenatal diagnosis? The genthalamic plane only for fetal barometry to measure SC and BPD to recognize the in case of small and enlarged head. If you are lucky man, you can get some lesion like few thalami. It can cause hypoplastic third ventricle and cause the ventriculomegaly. Let's move on to the transcerebellar plane. We have two kinds of transcerebellar plane. This one to measure the size of cerebellum, and this one to access the fourth ventricle. The cerebellum have the butterfly shape with the vermis is hypoechoic in the middle. The size of cisterna magna should be below 10 millimeter, and it may contain some thin septum. Before the 19 or 20 weeks, vermis do not completely cover fourth ventricle. The banana sign, I believe that all of you know about it. Here's normal case with the butterfly shape or the edge shape. Here is the banana sign in case of open spina bifida. Here is normal case intact of the spine and the skin. Here is the in case of open spina bifida here. That's another pictures about the same pathologist here. The lemon sign, yes, very funny pictures. It's a lemon from Vietnam, lemon from US. It's very different. In a normal case here is the shape of the skull is like the oval. Here is the abnormal case with hypoplasia of the frontal bone in case of open spina bifida here. Dandy Walker malformation complex. In the exoplane, when we access the transcerebral view, we can see some image like this. This is the open fourth ventricle. It can be normal in black palsy with good prognosis. We can see it in case of severe lesion like Dandy Walker malformation or vermis hypoplasia here. And we also assess the shape of the fourth ventricle. Here is a normal case, normal image of the fourth ventricle. And here is the abnormal cases of the fourth ventricle, like this here, case of Zuber syndrome. And for in case here is a case of Zuber syndrome. Why I mention it here? Because it's a very severe lesion and the recurrence rate is high as 25% because it's autosomal recessive disorder. We access the fourth ventricle with trapezoid shape. We can measure the transcerebellar and anteroposterior diameter, and the normal ratio is over 1. And here we can see it's the bullet shape, abnormal shape of fourth ventricle in case of Zuber syndrome. One important structure is Sylvan sulcus, and we can access it with the strict plane with the landmark here. This plane is, we have to see the fornix, we have to see the fourth ventricle and ambient system when we get a plane to access the Sylvan sulcus, and we can compare it with the reference here. This is some abnormal cases. We can see very dysplastic of cyanide fistula here in case of 28-6. And we always compare two sides of Sylvan sulcus because something we can get the asymmetric Sylvan fistula here. This can also have the agenesis of the corpus callosum, and here's a normal image of the normal cases. And another structures we can access on the axial view is optic chiasma, especially in case of the absent septum pellucidum. The landmark here, we have to obtain the Willis circle, and we get the two cerebral peduncle and two orbits anteriorly here. Here is the case of absent septum pellucidum here. We don't see the lab list here. And here is, we measure the chiasma in the axial view and the coronal view. Another structures we can access on the same plane is a brainstem. This is the normal with no cleft here, and this is the abnormal case with anterior cleft of the midbrain, and it is specific for this lesion, the encephalic mesencephalon junction dysplasia here. This is the sagittal view of this case. we can see the cleft here on MRI also. When we move the probe a little bit higher, we can access the lateral ventricle wall here. We can see something abnormal here. The bump here is a subependymal heterotropic dysplasia. And this is, okay, we see abnormal here. And in this case, we can see the abnormal shape, square shape of the anterior horn. Normally it has the comma shape, but in this case, it has a square shape here. And periventricular processus here, we also access in this view. And the last slide. When we cannot see anything in the fetal brain here, because the many shadowing here, this is a normal case, this is an abnormal case, it can be a craniosynostosis. And we access the temporal horn, only surrogation of the temporal cortex in Apers syndrome. So let's keep it simple. When do the fetal brain ultrasound with 3 axial plane, both qualitative and quantitative. And additional assessment include cranial suture, CSP, and anterior horn of lateral ventricle, fourth ventricle shape, proximal lateral ventricle, operculation of Sylvan suture, optical edema, and midbrain can bring you many information of the fetal brain. And please keep in mind that when you do a screening ultrasound, the file anisotropy source, let's move the patient to the dedicated targeted neurosonography, and if needed, MRI can be indicated. That is for me today. Thank you for attention.
Okay, thank you very much for the comprehensive talk, and we move to the last presentation delivered by Dr. Trần Nhật Thăng in Hanoi Medical University, in Ho Chi Minh City